Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to Kennesaw Happenings podcast at Overture. We have in the studio on a rainy day, Beth has moved across the county to come here. So we want to thank her for being a guest. And Beth, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into the podcast.
Okay. Well, my name is Beth Stevenson, and I serve the Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm a wife to Mark Stevenson for 26 years, and I'm a mom of three. I have Grace, who's 22. I have John Mark, who is 19, and I have Sarah Emily, who's 15.
Awesome.
I also am a salesperson for Signs and More and Marietta Signs. My boss owns Marietta Signs and Signs and More, and I represent both all over the Southeast, primarily in Atlanta. And I meet with clients and I go to business events, business lunches, and it is a dream job for me. So I love it.
I now know why you glow in the room. I didn't know you love Jesus. So now I can tell. Yes. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you meet people and are they just radiant, bubbly, enjoyable to be around, or do they love Jesus? So now I know.
I do.
That is awesome. I have a Sarah too, so I like that name too.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get in the sign business?
Well, so I was a stay-at-home mom for about 17, 18 years. And my husband and I moved back to Atlanta. He's an Atlanta boy. We moved back to Atlanta about 7 years ago, and his job did not go as planned. And he realized pretty quickly that it was not going to work out. He had an opportunity to own his own business. He owns American Family Hearing right off the square, right next to Firehouse Subs and off North Marietta Parkway. And he started that business when we had three teenagers somewhat. And he was like, babe, what can you do to bring in some money but still keep the children first? So I was in sales before I was a mom.
Okay.
And I was like, baby, I can sell. Let's try to do this.
Yes.
So the first thing I did was for a marketing company, and they told me it was going to be purely marketing and I'd be great for it. And I was like, I'm a big picture person. I'm not a details person. I can do details, but I like people and big pictures. And it was sitting behind a computer desk all day long, all details. And it was just, I was bad at it. They didn't love the fact that I didn't want to just sit there, crunching numbers all day. Yeah. So, by Christmas, we all were like, this isn't working. It was not marketing at all. And a neighbor was like, Beth, there's a small business in town that needs a part-time person. And so I interviewed for that over the holidays, and I started in January. And my boss did live in the Brookstone community, and his wife worked at the school where my youngest was, and we knew a lot of the similar people. And he was like, hey, I have all these opportunities for signs that I can't get to because I'm running the business. I just need somebody part-time to go to those if you want to. If you don't have to. This is straight commission. And if you want to do any of the business associations, do those. And so go eat with people and talk with people. I can do that. I can eat, I can talk. And I can also, go to the clients that you want me to see that you can't get to. And so we started a partnership where I work that around my children's schedule. And it's been a great partnership. And we have brought in some big and fun clients. And I'd love to tell you who we've.
I do. We're going to get to that because I tell you, when you hear a story, when I met you at the KBA luncheon, you have a way of connecting like I just met my sister. I mean, I just got connected to my sister. I mean, because you're just that way, and I can see why behind the computer is not your skill set.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably painful.
I would pinch myself to stay
Yeah.
awake. It was.
Yes. So if I heard you correctly,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure, does your husband own a hearing aid place?
Did I hear you correctly? Yes, he does. He gets that all the time. What?
I thought you said I thought it was insurance when we were talking.
No,
American
Family
Yeah.
Hearing.
I know that. Oh my gosh, you're
Yes.
not going to believe. We do have a need here.
And he has spoken here before. He told me this morning. I didn't realize he's spoken to a group here. I'm not exactly sure when it was.
It was at least over a year ago, because I have been
You
here
haven't
for
seen it.
14 months. Do you have any influence with your husband?
So much. It's unbelievable.
Do you think you could get him as a guest on
I
the
do.
podcast?
You and I kind of talked about it just a little bit.
Okay.
And
well, I thought you were talking insurance. I didn't.
You're like,
I heard
insurance guy.
No, well, I mean, insurance is important.
It is.
I won't, especially if a person is connecting in the community and serves the community. I have no problem. But I didn't hear the hearing part of it. So maybe that's another subject. But tell us, like, being a mom, a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
it's very difficult, because I know a lot of stories, getting back into the workplace.
Mhm.
Because the 17 or whatever years you were at home,
Mhm.
technology advances, the
Yes.
market changes, jobs change. So what were your thoughts when you were just putting your toe back in the market?
Yeah. So my thoughts were, I'm honest, I'm reliable, I am a go-getter, I'm hardworking, and I can learn anything if you'll give me time. But I was very upfront that I've stayed at home. That was by choice. It wasn't that didn't make good money. I made great money.
Right.
So, I had a track record of being successful at what I put my mind to. I do have a marketing degree, but more than anything, I care about people.
Right.
And honesty and reliability, just, those are things that just have an unbelievable price tag. So I was just confident that I could help someone as long as my giftings were well suited.
Mm-hmm.
So that first little job was not suited to my giftings, just details, sitting there working, but talking with people, connecting with people, following up. So I just was super upfront. Like, I have not been working on computers. I don't know the latest, but I'll do whatever I have to figure it out. And you'll have to be patient with me, but I know how to pursue people in an appropriate way.
Yes.
And help them.
Yeah. That's very wise. I love when people share insights on the podcast, because the relationship part, I would say, like, I play golf, and there was a gentleman I played golf with, and one round, and he said, he found out what I did. Can you introduce me to your HR person? I said, I don't know you. I mean, one round of golf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting my reputation on the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's like asking a person to marry them on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You build a relationship, and you see. So for what I'm hearing, the relationship part of that journey of trust, following up, mm-hmm. and being able to present yourself in a professional manner, people enjoy dealing with people like that. So what did you do before you had kids? You mentioned marketing. Mm-hmm. Share with our viewers.
So I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. You can tell I'm a Southern girl. Mm-hmm. And I was attending Stanford University. I had kind of a little bit of an unusual story. Born and raised in Birmingham. Everybody went to Auburn, Alabama. If you were just a mama's boy or a mama's girl, you went to Stanford in the community I was raised in. Mm-hmm. I did not want to go to Stanford because that was in my backyard. So So long story short, I lived on my grandparents' farm and went to a small community college.
Mm-hmm.
My husband of 26 years did not want me to go to Auburn with all my friends. And so I went to this small community college. We dated while I lived on my grandparents' farm. And part of what I was wanting to work with special needs kids.
Right.
And my economics teacher was like, why aren't you in the business school? And I was like, because I love special needs kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you need to be in the business school. And I just thought that was such a compliment that I moved to the business school. Took a summer job with Health South Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever
Yep.
heard of Health South and that whole big rise and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happened, the way I got that, it was temp agencies. Health South was growing like crazy, and I just happened to be placed in the inpatient division. And at the end of the summer, I loved it. Everybody was young. Everybody was making tons of money. It was the coolest place to work in Birmingham. And at the end of the summer, the president of Health South, not the founder, the president lived in my community. He knew my brother, and he was like, we want you to stay on and we'll pay for your schooling. And I was like, well, I'm transferring to Sanford. I'm getting my college degree. And he was like, what are you going to college for? And I was like, he was like, what else are you going to college for but to work at a cool place like this?
Yeah.
And I was like, exactly. I was flattered. I told my parents, and he was like, we'll pay for you to go to Sanford.
Wow.
So I came home and my parents were like, why not? And it was just super cool. Just everybody was the coolest 25-year-old there. Cool clothes, fast business. And so I did something very uncommon for my community, and I worked full time and went to school at night. So I did that until I got married to my husband, and then I finished my degree at KSU. So I'm a KSU grad also.
Awesome.
But that experience, I was able to work with a lot of up and coming executive women, and I would watch them be just so bad to the bone, and then they would shut the door and cry because they did, had children issues or people hurt their feelings and different things. And I just saw a lot of them having health problems from trying to be a great mom,
right,
and a phenomenal businesswoman. And so I feel like the Lord drew back the curtain for me and showed me corporate America and trying to be just an amazing mom and all of that. And I think it was because I love business so much that I needed to see the other side of it,
right,
and not just the glamour side. So after I graduated, I then took a job in sales. It was for-profit marketing. So to get to your question, it was just I had a very different experience than a lot of people in college. And so it was a for-profit marketing for a company called Gold Coast. My parents were like, are they going to pay you? And it actually was very, there's a lot of money in for-profit marketing. We did jewelry sales with auxiliary groups in hospitals all over the country.
Right.
So I traveled throughout the Southeast. Doing that. One of my biggest clients was Grady Hospital. They would do $200,000 in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
And the way they did that, it's not the people there. It is the employees purchase fine jewelry through payroll deductions.
Oh, so you just basically spread. You don't even see it because it's coming out of your payroll.
Correct.
And so
in $30 or $40 increments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm real familiar with payroll. I mean, that is a way to afford things that maybe you want but can't.
Right.
That's good.
So I did that until I got pregnant with my oldest, and then when I had her, I was like, that's it. And my bosses were like, oh my gosh, you work, because I worked from home.
Yeah.
And just flew out and drove wherever I needed to be. And they were like, my gosh, you have the best job. Like, you can be at home. But I wanted to fully devote my time. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, and my husband's mother was a stay-at-home mom. And I just didn't want to miss anything, rush anything. I feel like people can successfully do it. But at the time, we just wanted me to fully devote my life to raising our children. And that's what I did. And I don't regret it. So
that is awesome.
I always told my husband I would make more money again someday. And the someday, has arrived.
Well, I agree. We have a fair amount of people on our podcast, and I have never had anybody kind of come with your story at all. Not totally. So it's inspiring for you making those choices that you were going to devote your time to raising your kids. So I'm curious, did you grow up in the church, or what give us, not to go back to when you were a baby.
You're like, don't go as I did before.
Yeah. Just give
our story's so different. I like to share it sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So my story with my career and education, but my story as far as loving and serving the Lord is a typical story. But I totally believe all of us are unique. So raised in the church, both sets of my parents, were everybody, their parents, grandparents in the church. Typical when I was in high school and college, decided, do I really believe this? Or am I just doing it because of the Birmingham Southeastern Bible Belt culture?
Yes.
So I question everything. And so I went deep as possible in a time before there was much internet. So I read lots of books, checked out books, talked to everybody, listened to. Back then, it was radio and tapes. My father was a bivocational pastor. He's a successful businessman and a bivocational pastor. So he had an illustrious library of, when he was not providing for our family, he was reading and studying God's word. And so just had a lot of rich resources at my home and amongst family to help foster my faith. But the Lord was very, very loving to me, that when I had questions and doubts, because every time I read the Bible, I'm like, why is this? What is this? I get, trying to figure out the questions that I have. He was just very precious to reveal another resource, where when my biology teacher in college said, the Bible, like, whatever, y'all, there's not even dinosaurs in the Bible, that very afternoon when I was praying about it and thinking about it, I pulled up to the local Christian bookstore, and there was a picture of it. There was a shirt with a picture on it that had the Bible verse about different Leviathan and the different the actual dinosaur Bible verses on there, because that was kind of, so the Lord was just very wonderful to me, to, when I couldn't possibly Google it, just to reveal little spots like, hey, yes, I do discuss dinosaurs. Hey, yes, different things that were coming of age, that now there's, people on YouTube that are constantly trying to put holes in the Bible.
Sure.
But we have different wonderful resources for creative design and creation and other things. And so the Lord, through my research, I realized how much I loved the Jesus of the Bible, and that his word is true, and it is a firm foundation, that I don't have to check my brain at the door.
Right.
And that that there is great intellectual and factual information to back up my faith in the resurrection and the inerrancy of God's word. So it's been a journey, and I have raised my children and encourage everyone to keep asking questions. Lord's not afraid of our questions.
I agree.
And he encourages them. He's not afraid of our anger, our pain, our sadness. We can be angry, sad, frustrated, and questioning and sinful. And it's all of he uses all that. Just he doesn't take the perfect, he doesn't take pedigree. He can take it, and I fully believe in people going deep and asking the questions, and the Lord will reveal himself.
Yes.
If you'll keep asking and keep looking, and keep humble. You do have to try to be humble. The Lord does want us to have a humble spirit as we pursue. But even if we're not humble, the Lord can use that if we're His.
I totally agree. Wow.
That answers your question.
Yes, it does. And I have to ask this because so with your dad being a part-time bivocational pastor, would you be a part-time PK?
Preachers I was definitely a part-time PK. Yeah.
Okay, because you're not full, because he wasn't full-time. So you're the first part-time PK we've had on our show.
I will take it.
Okay, good. So tell us as we wind down, because I know you have things to do, and we want to make sure that you continue to bring home your part of the bread.
Right.
So tell our viewers first, what kind of, you mentioned about a client or two. Share with a little story about a client, and then tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you.
Okay. All right. Well, so I work off my cell phone. So, I don't know if you want me to put my cell phone is 770-990-3132. So 770-990-3132. So that is where I work off of. You can always look up Signs and More on the internet, or Marietta Signs. And can I speak to Beth? I'll probably won't be there. I go into the office, once or twice a week. I'm typically, you'll be able to find me at the ABA, Ackworth Business Association, KBA, which is where I saw you, or the MBA. I've been fully involved in all three of those. I love them. I'm going to the ABA Women's Lunch today. It is a fabulous event.
Yes.
Like 35 to 50 women show up every time. It's great. And one of my biggest clients right down the road on Cobb Parkway is Governor's Medical Spa.
Okay.
We last year installed a fabulous channel letter sign for them that with a remote control, they can change the colors. So when they want to do pink for breast cancer awareness, the color of their beautiful sign goes pink. When they want to, if they want to be orange for Halloween, or red and green, they can have different red and green, and it's all with a remote control. So that was a beautiful channel letter sign that we just put up in Cobb County. Governor's Medical Spa, a very happening medical spa. My latest client with me, that was with Signs and More with Marietta Signs. One of my biggest clients that I have been working on since the week of COVID is Whitewater. Whitewater has had an old sign from the 80s that blew down the week of COVID. I met the president of the park, Greg Fuller, 6 feet apart that week, because he was like, our sign just blew down. We had heavy winds that week. And so I have been working on that since COVID. And as of this week, install will probably happen next week for the new, large, beautiful digital sign on Cobb Parkway for Whitewater, Georgia.
Well, we'll look. I go right by it all the time, so I will keep an eye out for a beautiful looking sign, because that's essential. That has so much traffic through there.
Absolutely. So those are two of my favorite clients. We also work, I picked up the contract with Emory University. I have a story behind that I can tell y'all another day, and how that came about.
I tell you what, I'd love to have you back. So if you can drag your husband too, that would be a big plus. So I want to thank you, but we always ask, what would you like our viewers to take home from this podcast?
Take home hope. I feel like, this world can seem hopeless if we listen to too much news or look at too much social media. And there is a hope in Jesus Christ that there's a future, and there's a hope that he cares about us in a personal way. That does not mean it's going to be perfect or easy. Our life since we moved here 7 years ago just really changed and was really, really difficult on our children. But there is hope knowing that the Lord knew us, cared about us, and everything was sifted through his hands. And ultimately, no matter what happened, heaven was our home. So I just want to say there's hope. And if you don't have hope, reach out to me or go to church again. But find hope through helping others, serving others, and connecting with Christ. So just
thank you, Beth. Man, this is a treat. You have just, well, I'm going to use a baseball term. You have knocked it out of the park.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, thanks for being a guest and coming in and sharing with our viewers what Beth is up to.